Back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is. It's Renovation Nation time. I almost wanted to sing it. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. It's another Saturday. I'm Chad Rowland, host of this crazy show, coming at you from the undisclosed location of Studio 378, but over the airwaves, terrestrial style, as they say, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hope everybody's having a great day. I really don't know what I'm going to talk about today. So, it's an open-ender. I think I'm going to have to rename this show. I was calling it Working Hard, but I think I'm going to call it open-ender because I really don't know what to talk about. I've got a few things. Up my sleeve, but I don't know. It's a weird day. The weather's been weird. We've been warm. We've been cold. We're getting colder Monday. Hope you hadn't planned your tomatoes yet. It's been nice the last few weeks, though. But it's Tennessee, and here comes a change, and here comes another change, and another change. Welcome to Nashville and Middle Tennessee. Oh, me. What have I got? Oh, last week's show. I got to talk about that a little bit. What a great show. I was nervous as a cat. I tell you. I mean, Frida, if you didn't hear the show, had my daughter Sarah Rowland and Frida Tafuna, the pretty much number one women's collegiate rugby player in the country. I mean, she's amazing. If you didn't catch that show here on the show here today, then go to YouTube, search a Standard Conversation or Renovation Nation or RTM Roofing. All three will get you there, should be. And you can watch it. Just like you can watch today's show. Tomorrow or Monday it'll be up. That all depends on the editing. I gotta get the good side. But anyway, but yeah, it was a great show. I've still got a million questions for her. The women's rugby is just unbelievably brutal. I say brutal in a bad way, but it's not. It's a contact sport, and you just don't expect to see young women just, slobber knocking like we used to say in football. But nevertheless, it's amazing what she's accomplished, and I've been thrilled. My daughter's been able to spend time around that top of quality of a professional. Even though she's a collegiate athlete, she's a professional. But what else? What else have I got today? It's 70, or it's supposed to be 70 today. Well, Monday, it's going to be low of 24. Either, I don't know what time Monday, early in the morning before we wake up, or before we wake up Tuesday. I don't know. But I know it's going to get cold again, and then it'll warm back up. And if you've listened to this show long enough, you realize I talk a lot. But I talk a lot about thermal expansion, contraction, your house moving, your roof moving, your flashings moving, your caulking moving. Flashings. What's flashings? Well, if you've got a brick house or brick wall on your house and your roof hits it, it'll be that metal you should see at the bottom. Where your roof hits your brick wall, there should be it should either be a straight line of metal going up that wall with your roof, or it looks like a step or steps. That's flashings. And also those white pipes that come up out of your roof for your plumbing, those have flashings too. So all that expansion and contraction leads stuff to pull away, to tear, to open up little gaps that allow water entry. Now, we all know we don't want water in, even though your house, if properly built, as I always say, as Jamie Oldham said, it's a building envelope, and it's built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and etc. And it's built to take in water. You don't want it to all the time, but it's because of the order in which it's built and the products in which it's built with, it sheds it back out, or supposed to. But the number one thing is we don't want it coming in. That's my goal. It's with the rains we've had this past week and the winds with them, we've had a few calls, and I knew they were going to come where you don't have a leak on a normal rain. It sounds crazy. But a normal rain, just straight down, a little bit of wind. You're in your house, you're in that room all the time, nothing. But then we get these kind of winds that just come through. And you California people understand winds. You get them every year, twice a year, whatever it is, the Santa Anas and all that good stuff. But here, it brings rain, usually. But what I'm getting at is you don't know there's an opening above your head until certain weather conditions show you. And I think a lot of you have gotten shown this week because, well, number one, when's the last time you had your roof inspected? Number two, when's the last time you had your roof inspected? That's what I'm getting at. It's the expansion and contraction of stuff and the wearing out of stuff that's on your roof that takes the sun every day and the clouds and the wind and the cold and the heat and everything outside Mother Nature can throw at it. And then it gets old. It's sort of like me. It just keeps getting older each daggum year. And I'm starting to feel like I'm wearing down like my roof. And my roof's just, I just turned 6. Just turned 6 years old. I'm out of warranty. I'm out of my labor warranty. Now, my shingle manufacturer warranty, I've got another 9. That's the IKO Dynasty. It comes with 15 years out of the box. That's labor and materials if there's a manufacturer's defect. RTM Roofing gives you a 5-year labor warranty on roofs we install and a 1-year labor warranty on any repairs. But I don't even know where I was going with that other than the expansion contraction and, number one, number two of, when's the last time you had your roof inspected? And you know the answer. And since you know the answer, this is how you solve it. Yeah, you see what I did there? Yeah, it was probably a double entendre or something. But my point is that you can call RTM Roofing at 615-500 0751 500 0751. Listen to the extensions. There's extensions to get you where you need to go. Or you can go to rtmroofing.com and scroll down to the bottom and fill out the contact card, and it uploads right to us. You'll get a text, an email, a phone call. And bam, we're out there to see you. Yeah, I almost think I need to play some music today. It feels off today. I don't know why. What's going on in the world right now? Jeez, I'm trying to stay with it, and I feel a little scattered today, and I don't feel bad though. Yeah, whatever. I guess that's just getting old. But yeah, the weather. Going back to the weather a little bit. It's going to keep changing for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. As spring rolls in like it does every year. And it's going to show you some issues. Now that it's warming up, when you go out to mow, because it's that time. I did that last weekend. Jeez. I was trying to put it off to April, but with all the rain and the heat that we've had, that my yards thought differently. But when you're outside mowing, look up at your roof. Just look up at it. You don't almost have to know what you're looking at, but just look up at it. And if something just doesn't look right, that's an indicator. If something just, you're like, what is that? Don't think it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Don't go that route. Go, we need to get RTM Roofing out. Let's just have them check this out. Because while we're out there, we'll also check your siding, your soffit, your fascia, your gutters, your chimney caps, skylights, too. And now, starting now, actually, insulation. I did almost a whole show. I've talked about it a little bit, but yeah, we're looking in your attic because not only now are we warming back up, even though it's cold. It was 70 today, but it's going to be cold the first of the week. You're going to be turning your air on. turn your heat off, leaving it off, turn the air on. It's a mixed bag of weather. And the temperatures, you'll try to keep your house in between that. But my point is, what's insulation like above your head? See, we can kill two birds with one stone there. We can come out in one visit and look at both. Or just look at one. If you just need your insulation, we'll still look at your roof unless you've got a new roof. And I would look at it anyways unless it's under somebody's warranty. If it is, then call them out to look at your roof. But we can look at your insulation. And I'm not talking spray foam. If you need spray foam, we can get that. We can get that to you. It just won't be through us. And that's fine because these are good people. But when it comes to blow-in, and I learned something on that. I've got to look at the Haywood. I've yet to do that right at our office. That insulation's probably been there since 1964. I probably got like an R8, and you're supposed to be R38. That's the standard. I'd like to be an R58, but my point is, no wonder my electric bill is that high. When we're only we're not there 24/7, but I guess that's called saved by the music. But we offer insulation. That's my point. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to get through today. I'm going to get through today somehow. I guess I need to drink my coffee. But hope you're having a great Saturday. Working, not working, enjoying, just riding down the road, listening on the app, or checking us out online. Well, come on back. I do have a couple things I want to talk about. We'll see you in 3. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. You already know us for our roofing, our siding, our soffit, our fascia, our gutters, our chimney caps, our skylight work. Now, home insulation. It's time to get your attic inspected. Do you have enough? How long has it been there? What's inside there? Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com. Listen every Saturday right here to Renovation Nation. And we're back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is. It's Renovation Nation time. Oh, I got to stretch. Been sitting in this chair too long. Really not long enough. But, yeah, welcome back to the show. Thanks for listening. I'm Chad Rowland, host of this crazy show, because you're listening, like I just mentioned, to Renovation Nation live on Super Talk 99.7. Yeah, today's the Scattered Day. I'm going to rename it the Scattered Day. I'm going to change the name about 6 times. I'm going to write that down. Scattered Day. All right, yeah. Anyway, probably needed a good lunch. What I'm wanting. I want a sun drop, but I don't drink sun drops anymore. I'll have one every blue moon. But yeah, I gave up the sun drops. Maybe that's my problem. I need a couple. But anyway, yeah, we were talking about the weather today, and not just today. Excuse me there. Not just today, but this past week and past couple weeks, and how it's been changing. And I did notice that since it's been warmer, people have been getting outside and, mingling around. Everybody's emails and calls have picked up at the office, which shows me people are getting out and get ready for spring coming. And a few of those people went to a Mr. Johnson in Nashville. And his was an interesting, during the ice storm, a tree had fallen, and he's got, I always forget what to call them, but they're ridge capping, but they're very old school. They're the clay tiles that sit on top of the ridge, and I'm just spacing right now on what to exactly call them. But they're basically just like a cornice ridge cap or something like that. But they're not made anymore. And, if you've got those, it's hard to find the exact ones, or you've got to, when I say not made anymore, not made in America, or got to be shipped from Belgium or whatever. But that was something interesting. I normally run across those more in commercial roofing than I do residential along the walls in those older downtown buildings. But they're always they're neat looking, but I hate them. if they're in good condition, which most of them are older than me, so it's the ones that are cracked and trying to replace stuff like that. That gets complicated. But we're helping him out and going to see what we can do, because it's not only that, he's needing a roof as well. But who else did I go to? Oh, Mr. Waters in Manchester. I went there as well to him. And he's a young gentleman. I'll say young gentleman because he's younger than me, and knows what he wants and is getting wanting to get a pretty good rehab on the outside of the house. And what does that mean? What does RTM Roofing do in that case? Well, he needs a roof. He's got a metal roof, an old classic rib. He's actually looking at standing seam, which is more expensive. It really is. But you got to look at it this way when you're going to go buy metal. You got two choices, in my opinion. You've got the classic rib, which are the exposed screws that you see, where you see the exposed screw heads on the roof, exposed fasteners, as I like to say, that require maintenance. 10 so years, you're going to have to change the screws out, and they, screws back out as well as nails. But then you have standing seam, which that's all you see is those little vertical seams sticking up because they're the previous panel screwed into the deck, and you don't see those fasteners. And it's like I tell people, it's like buying a roof for the next 40 to 50 to 60 years, at least. Unless high winds or a tornado rips it off or hail hits it and dents it, then that's insurance. But when you see the price difference between shingles and the metal, it's substantial. It really is. But you're pre-buying, the way I look at it, if you're going to be there long enough. Now, look, I'll put whatever you want on your roof. I'm sorry, I'm having questions in my own head here. That if you're going to be there for a while, 30, 40 years, we're living here for the next 30, 40, that's our plan, that's our goal, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and you're, going to live that long. You're not my age, and 30, 40 years, that's pushing it. But at the same point in time, it's what am I getting for my money? And if I can get this thought out of my head, is the difference between shingles and a standing seam roof. An average shingle roof is going to run you 15 to 20 grand, let's say. Say 15 to 20 on a 2,500 or 3,000 square foot house and up. And it may run higher. I'm just throwing out some ballpark numbers. Where that same standing seam, I see. You could be 40 to 60 to 80 depending on the home and the details and all of that. But I'm saying it's 2 to 3 more in general. Now, there's some wiggle room there. But let's just say it's 2 more roofs plus the one you're buying. That's a total of 3 roofs. If the average roof is 18 to 25 years, in my opinion, in this market, unless you're going to a class 4 and above and some, things like that, then you bought 3 roofs at once in today's dollars. Now, stay with me on this one. Well, you flash forward 30 years, and what do you have in a price of a standing seam roof or a shingle roof? The shingle roof will probably be $40,000 to $60,000 by then. And the reason I say that, I was looking back, here about a week ago or whatever, and I discovered an old summary I'd done way back in 2012. So that was 14 years ago. Almost, it was like November of 2012. And it was was it 20 square, 25 square roof. And this is in insurance pricing. And it was, I think I had a total of around almost like $10,500. Okay. 25. And I got to thinking, that's the last time a lot of local people, and because there was a lot of roofs damaged in 2012 in Nashville, had gotten that had damage, got a new roof, and now we're 14 years in. We're getting into the 3/4 lifespan, or wear and tear, depending on how you've maintained it, that when we come out and you don't have storm damage, and we now tell you that 25 square roof is 17, 15 to 20. Like, that was just $10,000. That's a time deal. So in 14 years, we've almost doubled. In some cases, doubled. So yeah. So if every on average 20 years you double, you go 60 years, and it's a $20,000 roof. That's a $60,000 roof. If you bought today as a standing seam metal roof, and it was 40 to 60K, let's say, yeah, you just bought a lifetime roof pretty much. That's the difference. But it's also, people move a lot. Unless you really just want a metal roof, that's why I always start right back with the IKO Dynasty. Because to me, that's the best bang for the buck on the money, on the market, on the money. And again, I'm sitting here thinking in real time, and it isn't working. So, but that's the best bang for your buck. For the wind protection. Now, hail, if you want serious hail protection, we'll talk class 4 shingles. But if you want serious wind protection, that's what I got on my roof in this IKO Dynasty. And that's in that 15 to 20 range I was telling you earlier on the average, average size house, 2,500, because I got to explain this out loud in my head. 2,500 square foot footprint with a 4-pitch or 6-pitch or 8-pitch roof, you're going to have, 30 squares, 3,000 square foot of roofing. 3,000 square foot of roofing times 5 is 15 grand, times 6 is 18, times 4. I don't see that much anymore because it's not 2012. And it wasn't even times 4 then. It was like times 2.5. Yeah, it's amazing when I saw that, how I laughed. I was like, the materials almost cost more than what the complete roof did with labor in 2012 now. Yeah, times have changed. So it's always, what's your investment? What's your budget? What are you doing? How long are you going to be here? And when do you want to leave? When you leave? Yeah, that'll wrap it up. And somehow we made it through that segment. Yeah, it's one of these days, but that's all right. I'm still here. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. Come on back here in a minute. I do have a couple other things I think I might get into. If not, I'll just be babbling. See you in 3. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. You already know us for our roofing, our siding, our soffit, our fascia, our gutters, our chimney caps, our skylight work. Now, home insulation. It's time to get your attic inspected. Do you have enough? How long has it been there? What's inside there? Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com. Listen every Saturday right here to Renovation Nation. And we're back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Oh, yeah, here every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And if you've missed today's show already and just now tuning in, you can always go to YouTube, search a standard conversation or RTM Roofing, Renovation Nation. Renovation Nation, there's a bunch of them out there, but not too many RTM Roofings in Nashville. Only one that I found. And search that, and you can, we upload these shows. It's like, hey, we're sitting right here doing the audio, might as well get the video. And, been doing a lot of different shorts. I do a lot of shorts, a lot of reels, whatever you want to call them. Just little tidbits because of the shows, it's about an hour long, and I'm not that good of a podcaster, so I don't expect most people to stick all the way through it, much like on the radio, but you just don't have to look at me. But anyhow, but yeah, you can go there and you can find past shows. I don't know, we're on number, I think I'm on number 24 right now that I've got up. This will be number 24. You'll be seeing it'll be up Monday, either tomorrow or tomorrow. Yeah, either tomorrow or Monday. It'll be there. Just subscribe to the channel. by the way. Just like you got your radio program from here, subscribe to RTM Roofing Renovation Nation, and then you'll get the alerts, and I don't have to even talk about it anymore. But trying to build up our subscribers a little bit. We had about 30 ad last week, which was good. That was good. It's just it's another way to get you information that you can get at your time, your pace, your flow. And then if you need more information, you just give us a call at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com. Scroll to the bottom, fill out the yellow contact card, come straight to us. We'll get in touch with you and get you on our inspection calendar. For all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylights, and starting now, insulation needs. And I hit on insulation a little bit last segment that, we're doing the blow-in, as well as a little bit of the batten that's, I was saying last week or whenever it was, for cathedral ceilings and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, we can look at your insulation because it's important. It really is. I'm wind up doing myself at the Haywood, if I can say that right, at our office. I've got to do it because the electric bill's killing me, and we keep it pretty modest there. And we're not, my guys aren't living in it 24/7, and heat on 80 or on 60. No, we keep it 67's good. But nevertheless, I think I'm going to see some savings. I know I will, because that insulation, I'll just about bet $100 hasn't been changed, most likely ever, since 1964. How old's your insulation? And especially if it's a blow-in, then it compresses over time, and you don't keep the same R value. It's pretty interesting. You start off with a R38, R40, whatever. Then 10 years later, you're the R. I'm making these numbers up, but it drops down, a certain percentage or whatever it does each 4, 5, 6, 7 years, every year, whatever it adds up to be. You might be an R20, you might be an R15. That's a big difference between R15 and R38. And what I mean by that is a protection from the elements, keeping the heat out or in and not letting it get out. Hot air goes too cold. So right now, today is about a neutral day. But come Monday morning, when it's 24 degrees, all that heat inside of your house will be wanting to go up and out and left and right. Windows, your windows and doors and all that stuff. But a lot goes out the top. And I think I'll see a return. I know I'll see a return on my investment. I just got to see what that's going to be so I can start crunching numbers. That's the hardest thing. When I was researching this, I'm like, well, what's the savings if somebody, if they are at an R20 and we're going to bring them back up to an R38? What kind of efficiency is that? And it's such a broad, there are numbers, but no one's willing to die on a hill on one, I guess is the thing, because it's not just going up out of your roof and out. It's going out your windows, out your door. There's cracks. If you go by your window, you feel air blowing in. Yeah, that's an outlet and inlet. So it's hard to say, but I'm telling you, I believe it's going to be measurable, especially for me at our office. I think it's going to be really, really measurable. I know my windows are old. I know there's a few, doors that probably doesn't have the best seal on it. But when I've got 1964 insulation over my head, knowing what I know now, earlier, I'm like, yeah, they insulated when they built it. Of course they did. Which I don't know what the codes were back then, but I might be an R10. I might just be an R for rolling. How about that? No wonder my bill's so high. Every time he comes out, it's high. Oh, but anyway. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, if that's caught your attention a little bit, and you're in an older home, or even now a brand new home, that you should be good. I mean, I'm always happy to come look at your roof or look at anything, but your siding, your soffit, your fascia, your gutters, all of that. But for a lot of you people that have, a house that's 10 years or older, might double check and just see what you got upstairs. See where you're at. it may be more beneficial to add a little bit on top of what you've got already and save some money on your bills. We'll see. But you can get a hold of us at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylights, and now insulation needs. I'll go with that. But back to Mr. Waters for a minute in Manchester. Yeah, him and his wife are just purchasing a house, and it's like we talked over the phone that night. I think it was a 60s or early 70s, or I think it was a 60-something house as well. It's got good bones, and so they're renovating. He's wanting new soffit, new fascia, new gutters, and a roof. And they're going to redo the inside as well. And that's smart. So I was showing him, like I said, the price of a shingle roof and a standing seam roof. And, like I was telling him, if you plan on being there, and he's a younger gentleman, if you plan on being there for the next 40, 50 years, yeah, standing seam's a great investment. And for the crazy, if you could understand the reason I was saying earlier, I barely could understand it, and I was saying it. But it is an investment. That's the point. And, an investment saves you, to me, I say it saves you money because it makes you money, right? It saves you from having to spend as much, or if you got to spend it, you got it. I guess you see where I'm going. Something crazy like that. But overall, it's not a bad deal. I call it a bad deal if you just, hey, I just want a standing seam. I'm okay. It's going to be $50,000. All right, let me go borrow the money just to have it. And I'm like, I don't see that. I'm a shingle guy all the way. But I tell people a lot, and I don't knock metal. It's just not not niche. It's not my personal favorite. I prefer shingle. I like shingles. How many times can I say that? Hey, Chad, do you like shingles? Yeah, I do. I really do. And because I always know things fail. Things will fail over time. And I guess me being still somewhat a young lad, as some people tell me, that I can fix some of my stuff, or it's not that expensive if I'm maintaining it on a shingle. Now, I'm not worried about a lot of maintenance on a standing seam at your caulking, your pipe boots, and stuff like that. And then they usually don't fail. They really don't. When done properly, but they do expand and contract and move, and things happen that I always look at, because I'm not looking for the roof for the next 40 or 50 years. I'm looking for a roof for the next, 15 to 25. It's about the average. Because hail or high winds, not usually because they always wear out, but it's usually hail or high winds, and some do wear out. Because, the attic's getting too hot. They're not properly ventilated. And a myriad of things that can happen that why your roof can wear out. But in a perfect world, you should get 20 to 25 years by maintenance, and you probably could even get 30, 35. Rarely see them because most people don't maintenance their roofs consistently. But like I always say, it's like a car. Just don't change your oil for about 30,000 miles, and do that for about 3 times in a row, and you're at 90,000 miles. How do you think that car is going to be? You might get lucky and it's running still good, and you change the oil and nothing ever happens. But then again, you might change that oil, and then next thing you know, here comes the dashboard on. You never know. But I can tell you, by not changing it, every 5 to 7 to 10,000 miles, whatever type of oil you got in your car, if you change that every 30, you're going to have more problems than you don't. And just like if you don't get your roof looked at least on a yearly basis, or bi-yearly at the most, you're adding up problems, because there's always maintenance that some's manageable. Hey, let's watch this for another year, you're good. Or let's go ahead and repair it. It all depends on severity. And also, is it going to be 70 degrees today in 24 and 48 hours? Well, that causes problems. That causes problems. But that's what RTM Roofing's here for. To help you solve those problems. Get ahead of the curve. don't meet it. Don't let it blindside you. That always hurts. At least if you see it coming, you can, you can dodge, weave, and duck. And you can also call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to our website, rtmroofing.com. Well, hold on. We'll see you in 3.
Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. You already know us for our roofing, our siding, our soffit, our fascia, our gutters, our chimney caps, our skylight work. Now, home insulation. It's time to get your attic inspected. Do you have enough? How long has it been there? What's inside there? Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751 or go to rtmroofing.com. Listen every Saturday right here to Renovation Nation.
And we're back. Back live on Super Talk 997 WTN. You know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., like I said, on Super Talk 997 WTN. I'm Chad Rowland, host of this crazy show. And, I don't know, then sometimes I'll hear this show on Saturdays or be hearing the playback and, oh, Lord, I repeat too many things too many times, but I try. Anyhow, hope you're having a great Saturday, and thank you for continuing to listen to Renovation Nation here on Super Talk 997. What else we got? I was, get off Mr. Waters there out of Manchester. It's really interesting, though, the differences between metal and shingles. And especially now, that's residential. Let's jump commercial for a second. There's a lot of metal commercial roofing. We've got a really, really good process of repairing that. And the best way I can say it is, I ran across something the other day. It was a metal roof, and I can't remember how many square feet it was, but it was a section enough where they'd got estimated at about $10,000 in repairs. And it was a lot of detail. I saw what they were doing. And there was a time I would have been quoting the same thing, probably about that same amount. But what I found is that with the method we have now, I'm about half that. And I may hit half that. I've got half that as a do not exceed. And what's a do not exceed at RTM Roofing? Especially for commercial buildings and commercial properties. And I do that on residential as well at times, depending on the complexity of the repair. But because in roofing, you have a lot of variables, okay? Now, there's not... Okay, let me rephrase this. When you're going out on a commercial roof and there's a couple leaks and you get up there and it's metal, there's screws and there's some penetrations and there's some seams. That's really all there are up there. But which one is it? And when that seam goes 35 feet, 40 feet, 100 feet or whatever, where's it coming in to dropping and how far up did it go and what do we do to mitigate this in the future? We found them instead of cover stripping in or changing out panels there's a myriad of things. Oh, that's my word of the day, myriad. There's a myriad of things that you can do up there, what I call conventionally. And what the other way is not unconventional, well, maybe it is, but it's more practical and cost saving and lasts just as long, and in my opinion, just as bulletproof. And it's not always half the price, but it's not the full price. I can tell you that. And that's also for when you have the big white roofing membrane, the TPO, or the black roofing membrane on flat roofs, the EPDM, or the granulated surface. And, I call it a mod bit, but it's rolled roofing, they call it. They used to be torched down. Now we don't do that. I don't do that. I don't think many people do that much anymore. But where I'm headed is that RTM Roofing has been able to repair a lot of commercial membranes and metals at tremendously less cost to the building owners, whoever owns it, whoever's fitting the bill, than they have in the past. And it lasts. I mean, I'll say this. I helped do it to my roof on a deer stand I built in the middle of the woods. Just started from the ground up and just, like a kid, just started, I'll do that and just kept going till it looks like a Tim Burton movie, but it works. Well, I 3-course trees, and I know you might not know what that means, but let me just say, when you nail into a tree, there's always a gap there. Well, I sealed those gaps. I coated the top of my roof. I've got a chair on top of that roof that I'm sliding around on now, going on, it'll be 3 years this August, and there's yet to be a leak on the inside. And it was just bare wood. I didn't even do it to spec. I just did it, in the woods. Let's try this and see how tough it is. Well, it's that tough. I've done all kinds of things with it. You can actually, with one of the products that we use, if you've got a low slope roof, it's got a drip and there's a puddle of water there. Yeah, you can't. It's hard to tarp a flat roof. Let me put it that way, without tarping, all 100,000 square feet of it. You just basically put another roof on it. But I can stick this brush with this stuff in the water where the hole's at and seal the hole. Now, is that a permanent fix? No. Does that stop your leak for the moment if that was the hole? Yes. Do we let the water get away because it's raining? When I usually don't go out in the rain. But my point is, it just finished raining and there's water everywhere. Yes, we've stopped it. I've stopped it. My guys have stopped it. Pretty neat stuff. And what it boils down to, it's the product is what it is, and the cost. It's your time. Your time minimizes. And so we've been doing some rehabs on buildings. It's like, you don't need a new roof. You need a giant tune-up, and it's going to cost you a lot less than doing it what I call the conventional way. Now, there are times the conventional has to be done. There's times that this, it won't work. But to me, it's a better, more efficient way. It's a less expensive way. Buys you the same time, in my opinion. Yet to be proven wrong. If I am, I'll admit it. And yeah, it's pretty neat. So if you're in that situation, call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com, scroll to the bottom, fill out the contact card. Perfect. For all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, I'm just flash forward to it. Skylights and insulation needs. But in this specific case, commercial roofing. If you've got an industrial building, now we don't do skyscrapers, not my thing. I like heights, it doesn't bother me, but that's I stay in my lane. We stay in our lane. Let me put it that way. But yeah, just standard warehouse style. I mean, we've helped a lot of people with it, and I've actually used it in residential applications as well, and it's pretty neat, especially for metal roofs, because now, it comes in colors, but just to get something stopped, we can come back and touch up some color. It's getting the leak stopped when you need it stopped and not costing you an arm and leg, because it's harder to work on metal. It's just, again, you got to remove stuff, you got to pull it away, this, that. We've got the Willy Wonka golden bar is what we've got. The golden chocolate bar. It fixes everything. It's pretty neat. So I'll get off of that. But who else did I see? I went out and saw Mr. Dave, and I can't say his last name because I'll butcher it like I always do. Out in Tullahoma. He's got a metal roof. And went out and re-looked at it. He's actually got some hail damage on it, and looking at a possible claim. Still talking with him on that. But same point in time, he's they're wanting, it's time for a change. And so it was good seeing him again because I'd been out a year before talking to him, and now he's ready to go. See, that's the other part about RTM Roofing. We can come out and help you at least get budgeted. I understand that you don't have 15 to 20K laying there ready to go ahead and do that roof. Now, if you got to, we offer financing. If it's an emergency situation and it's dead, it's leaking, half of it's blown off, and the insurance is not covering it, and yada, 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 then, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. But if we can go ahead and get the little minor tune-up, get any leaks that are slightly leaking that you don't know about stopped, get you on a budget, come back a year later, 6 months later, 3 months later, 2 years later, now you're ready to go. Well, let's do it. Go to rtmroofing.com, fill out the contact card at the bottom of the page. We'll come out and hang out. Might even be me. If not, it'll be one of our guys. They're good. They know what they're doing. Hope you do. And hope you have a great weekend. See ya.
Thanks for watching Renovation Nation. Hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share button.